All right, guys. So the US market just opened. I got my alert just then, and I wanted to go through what is going on. And, things are looking not very nice right now. So, of course, like I've been telling you guys, I want to be going live when the market isn't so great. So I can be here, we can discuss, you can ask me questions, I can go through my strategies, my thesis, what I'm seeing in the market, the news, and all of that good stuff. Please let me know if you are here, if you can hear the stream, if everything is all good, please do let me know. And if you can, once you join in, hit that like button because it's going to help me get this video out to more people. That's all I ask in return. I want to keep showing up for you guys. I'm playing around with the schedule. I most likely Monday and Friday will go live between, right around this time, maybe half an hour before this so we can talk before the market opens. And then again on Wednesday, I'm going to try to do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Let me know right now in the comment section when you want me to go live and to chat with you guys. I did post one of my favorite videos that I've done in a long time today, so go and check that out. I'm showing my entire portfolio that's not just crypto, my diverse portfolio, going through all of it so you guys can understand a little bit more about what I do in this market and the reason why I managed to stay so calm and collected in these moves. Not only have I been in the market for a long time, I understand that this just part and parcel of being a crypto investor, but I'm also diverse, which means in moments like this, I have other investments to fall back on. And no matter your size of portfolio, I believe that you can build something that is the same. A lot of people get caught up with the idea that, well, my portfolio is at millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, so there's no point in me having a diverse portfolio. Now, that could be the case if you want to take the high risk, high reward approach, right? I took the high risk, high reward approach in 2017. But what it resulted in is me losing everything at first, having to sustain 2 years of being in a hole where I had to work and I had to shovel my money into the market with basically unreal conviction, blind wavering faith. And that actually turned out to be correct. But guys, I never went all in with all of my money, right? I actually was only really investing into crypto, but I still held cash on the side, slowly investing into the market, which I actually think is the best way to go about it. No, it's not going to get you the biggest returns in the quickest amount of time possible, but it is going to give you a little bit of emotional stability. And right now, I'm not taking a walk. I'm not bouncing. I'm just having a chill day. It's Wednesday. I've played no paddle. I've done no runs. I've not gone to the gym. And like I've been saying, guys, right now is the time for you guys to, yes, be focusing on the crypto market, but don't let it destroy your mood, your mindset. The most important thing is, of course, your health, your family, your relationships, and all of that. And I know people start yapping about this in a bear market, but it's so important to keep that in the forefront of your mind, because if this is exactly the same as every other time, which I believe it is, right? Stock market, precious metals, Bitcoin, crypto, the same crap, rinse and repeat, different news headlines. Now we've got old Epstein and all of that stuff that's happening, and everyone's like, okay, well, Bitcoin's cooked. Same shit, different day, all right? Different title, different FUD, whatever it is, I believe it's the same. And I'm willing to put a certain amount of my money in these investments to hope for the best. Now, with that said, guys, I got some news to go through. The S&P 500 and the markets did just open. Things aren't looking terrible for the overall market right now. Up just a little bit, 0.2% up for the S&P. We've got the NASDAQ down a little bit right now. Apple's actually up 2%, which is interesting. But what is going on? Why is the market shaking? And why did we just get another $579 million worth of long positions wrecked? Now, guys, what's kind of crazy about right now is people just don't seem to be learning. However, there are less people who are not learning, but they are going wildly long in moments like this, wildly short in moments like this. And when I say wild, I mean like extending themselves with too much leverage, right? Because we can see this move from this morning or yesterday down to where we are right now is 4%. 4% down, still $578 million worth of liquidations, which is absolutely wild. All right, so people aren't learning. Me personally, I also use leverage, and full transparency for the team, we are in a loss for the Bitcoin trade, which I averaged into heavily for Bitcoin now in that trade. And then we have the Ethereum trade, which I doubled the other day, now $500 in a loss. I don't have any other positions open in this account. I do have the Dogecoin trade, $700 in profit, holding up very nicely here. And then the new XRP trade that I opened the other day, 39 XRP in the profit. all teetering right down here. And what's my thesis, right? What's my thesis as to why I opened these positions? Well, you can see right now we are retesting. This is kind of the final frontier, guys. Yes, you can tell me when we do head lower, Connor, you're an idiot, right? You should have turned bearish up here. And maybe I should have, but that's fine, right? The thing is I don't claim to be a perfect trader or investor or know what's happening next. What I claim to be is someone who's learned his lesson over time, and I fix my strategy to follow what works for me, both monetarily, but also emotionally, right? And also how I keep these strategies intact, how I have this unwavering faith, right? So for me, I need things like a full-on, a few weekly closes below this region might mean that we are actually in this longer-term bear market. That would confirm that we're not actually having what we had back here. And yes, in hindsight, you can say, Connor, if you were more intelligent, if you were a better trader, you would have shorted it up here like lots of the traders did. But that's great. But most likely, the traders that shorted from down up here didn't also get the massive amount of gains that I got here. Maybe there are some that can do both perfectly, and that's absolutely awesome. You should also follow those guys. But in my opinion, we got to follow our strategies as much as possible. And again, guys, that might just be cope, but this is what has worked for me over the long term, and I love sharing that with you. And my idea around these live streams is to be live in a moment like this, which could be a moment like this, which for me could also be the moment back here where I needed it the most, right? I needed it right here when I was all in crypto all the way to the top. I held everything all the way to the bottom, and luckily enough, I didn't leave. But that's because I had a good echo chamber around me. I had friends that were thinking the same thing. I had, people who I consider my best friends right now in the same boat right here. We continue to buy. And if I hadn't have had that, right, I would have maybe sold in any of these regions all the way to here and never got back in. Now, if you believe that you can time the perfect time to get back in by selling now and getting back in here, that's awesome. But that's not something that I believe for myself. So that's why I keep showing up right now. And that's why I stay bullish in this market. And I switch, obviously, when the market was super euphoric. I used to have loads of trades open. Now I have much less trades open. They're longer term swings and we wait patiently. Of course, I still have my spot bag, which I am also accumulating as well as we speak. I recently re-added to my Bitcoin spot position. I'm not ready to add to my altcoin positions. I'm actually very happy. The largest positions I have, Ethereum, Solana, XRP in that bag, a few exchange tokens. I'm very happy with those positions I built in the last bear market. So I don't really need to add to them for a long time because they're still in significant profits. And, I'm willing to sustain this volatility, this market. Things get significantly worse, I may start to consider to DCA into the spot market. Again, using the cash flow I hopefully generate from trades like this from short-term bounces. That's the plan anyway. If you guys do want to trade yourself, we do have the trading competition happening over on BitUnex with 20,000 USDT up for grabs right now. So if you want to grab that, the link is below this video. Also, guys, as well as this, I have a link to the free Telegram group where you have my trades, our traders' trades, all of that good stuff, and the crypto strategy school where I post all of my videos, all of my thesis, what I'm thinking, my trades as well. Tyler Hill is also in here. We have 4 full-time coaches. We got so much stuff in here, and it's really clear in this market that people are enjoying this and they are getting value from it because we can see it every day. So if you want to come and join any of those guys, the links are in the description. We'd love to have you over there. But what's happening in the market? Well, you'd be surprised to hear, right? Kathy Wood still is betting on Bitcoin hitting $1.5 million from 75K to 1.5. Another big run is coming. Are you ready? And before we listen to this, guys, I do see a few people commenting down there about Tom Lee consistently fooling people to long and all of that. And yes, you can have your ideas around them. Maybe Tom Lee is a bad actor. Maybe Michael Saylor is a bad actor. Maybe Kathy Wood is a bad actor. That's why we don't base our thesis on what other people are saying, doing, thinking, moving, whatever it is. It's what we think. We can use the likes of Kathy Wood, use the likes of Tom Lee, use the likes of Michael Saylor to get ideas and research, but we don't base our investments on what they say. I bought BMNR. I am underwater on BMNR. I am not angry at Tom Lee because I understand what this market is like. Ethereum is down, so obviously the DAT that buys Ethereum is going to be significantly down. They are leverage plays on crypto. You want more risk in the stock market, right? You buy stocks that are, buying crypto. That's how you get more risk. I made a ton of money doing exactly this on CleanSpark. That worked really well. Maybe BMNR is the same thing, maybe it isn't, but we need to understand the risks before we get involved, and we take an amount of money to us that is relevant, right? And we're willing to lose that, and we go forward. So let's listen to what Cathie Wood had to say here about Bitcoin potentially hitting $1.5 million.
That's our bull case, 1.5 million in 2030. There are a few compositional changes. One, stablecoins, so especially Tether in the emerging markets, have usurped one of the roles that we thought Bitcoin would serve. And that is, we thought that before stablecoins that people would, and they would buy Bitcoin as an insurance policy against confiscation of wealth, either in the form of inflation, hyperinflation, and massive devaluations, which occur regularly in the emerging markets, or outright confiscation of wealth. On the other side, what has happened to gold recently? Gold has doubled over the last 2 years and has outperformed Bitcoin royally in the last year. So the digital gold role, and we think with intergenerational wealth transfers accelerating here throughout the world, that the younger generation will diversify into a digital gold option rather than the physical gold. It's more their world. And so we think that role has increased, or that the price should be supported by what has happened to gold. If you look at what's happened historically, certainly the last 2 cycles, gold has led Bitcoin. So we think Bitcoin is getting ready for another big run.
So what do you guys think about that? They still think, these people think that Bitcoin is on for another run. Cathie Wood recently bought Bitcoin as well for the fund. Do you think she's a bad actor? Everyone thinks, right now Tom Lee's a bad actor. They're worried about Michael Saylor. Is Cathie Wood part of that, or is she different? Because I remember how people felt about her during the old Rona Ronason, because the first sort of big investments that I was doing outside of crypto was Tesla. Me and my friend were buying Tesla. We were listening avidly to what Cathie Wood was saying. And, that went on to be exceptional. But people were calling her an idiot back then. She was talking about Bitcoin back then. And things have got significantly better, right? 4 years later, 5 years later, things are significantly better, even on these pullbacks, than they were then. Now, everyone was promised 100x gains, life-changing wealth, all of that. And yes, crypto this time round hasn't provided that. A lot of us were caught off guard, especially with the altcoins, right? Yes, I have a few that did well, but I also have a few that did worse, right? But we have Bitcoin. And my thesis remains the same. There will be an investment, or is an investment class for crypto. People will continue to want crypto, and I think Bitcoin very much will continue to grow. I've seen people hating on Bitcoin like they are today many, many times before, and every time the FUD dissipates, and then you look back and you go, well, why didn't I just buy more back when everyone was hating? That's what I think anyway, and that's what I even thought in this bull market. In this bull market, guys, I look back and think, why did I waste my time doing anything other than buying Bitcoin in the bear market, right? When there was wars on the horizon, there was FUD, there was so much stuff right at the pits of the bear market. All I had to do was just buy more Bitcoin, right? So that's what I'm going to be doing in this run because that's what time in and time out has been proved to be the best thing. Now, this time maybe is different, and that's why I have a diverse portfolio and I don't invest anything I can't afford to lose. With that said, Gordon here, a very interesting tweet. This is what the title is based on, right? This one feels extremely wrong. Well, what's talking about, right? $72,000 to $76,000 is 45% off all-time highs. Declared crypto winter, tech bloodbath, maximum capitulation, same price as pre-Trump election after MAGA whales accumulated all week. This is the buy that nobody wants to make, the one that feels wrong, the one where you question everything, and that's exactly why it's the right one. Every generational bottom feels like this. You're supposed to be scared. Now, I'm not here to say that I think that this is the bottom. I still think we could go significantly lower from where we are right now. But what I am here to say is it always feels like crap. And guys, hopefully at least one person who's watching this live stream saw my videos at the top or near the top of the bull market where I said, you know, everyone wants Bitcoin's price to go down so they can buy it at cheap. Well, now we're seeing Bitcoin 40% down. You can buy it at cheap, but it's never going to be a nice reason why it's down. Back when it was high, we had no idea the reason. We had no idea the files that would be released. We had no idea how Trump would behave. All of this. It's never going to be easy, right, to buy it. Else the price wouldn't be down. Because if there wasn't FUD, the price wouldn't be down. It's as simple as that. You never get the cheap prices. $16,000 Bitcoin was not a bullish environment. It was not even as bullish as we are right now. And people hate crypto. People were gone. It was a wasteland, right? No one was here when Bitcoin was $16,000. So that was the generational buy, right? I wouldn't say that we're at 16 and comparatively we're at 16,000 here. I would say comparatively we are at 30,000, right? So if we fall off the cliff here and we do go into the bear market, you can see what's on the horizon. Okay, there's about 306 days. Just off a year where we go lower. A 50% drop, right, over the course of 300 days. People would argue, well, if you bought it here and you did nothing, you didn't make anything in 300 days. But they're not the people that are following the DCA method. So in this moment, if I bought here, and then I bought here, and then I bought here, 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 I averaged my price all the way down to maybe 20K. And then imagine the profit you're sitting on now. But you might be thinking, well, Connor, we're about to head back down to 20K. Well, maybe we are. Maybe it is best to wait for 20K, but I don't think I can time that perfect bottom to buy all of my Bitcoin back. So as someone who's seeing Bitcoin for the next 10 years, I'd rather just accumulate while people are scared. That's what works for me. That's what seems simple for me. It may work for you. It may not work for you, but that's what works for me, right? We also have Vitalik selling $5 million of ETH this week. Ted Pillows wants someone to tell him that this isn't the right time. And yeah, I mean, this isn't a good sign, right? The head of Ethereum, second largest crypto in the world, dumping into the bear market. Like, come on, mate, have some respect. Like, it's kind of an insane thing to be doing, but you know, that's the kind of stuff. According to Crypto Rover, the real gains are made during bear markets, not bull markets. Don't give up now. Is exactly what I think as well. The US Senate will discuss Bitcoin and crypto market bill today at 2 p.m. This bill will inject over $2 trillion of liquidity into the market, potentially, which could be giga bullish and yada, yada, yada. This is just obviously speculation, but it is good, right? If this gets passed, if it is good, you know, there's many reasons why the market is down, and this could just be one thing to prop it up. Now, remember, if you were in the last bear market, remember what it was like. All of the good feelings and the good news and all of that never really equated to anything. In fact, the price just seemingly kept going down, right? Good news in a bear market doesn't push the price up. Good news in a bull market does, right? And that's just that's just part and parcel. So basically, the way I look at it is all of this news, right, is compounding over time. It doesn't affect the price for a long time, and then all of a sudden, we head up, right? I don't think that the big wigs, the whales, the institutions, the ETF creators like BlackRock have changed their thesis because of the price. In fact, BlackRock is incentivized to help the price eventually go up so they get more fees. Why is that? Well, because when the price goes down, retail don't buy their ETFs. When the price goes up, retail buy their ETFs. So they're incentivized, in my opinion, to not let crypto or Bitcoin go to zero. So that's why I just don't think that is going to be the case. Well, one of the reasons, right? We also see Binance buying another 100 million worth of Bitcoin for its SAFU fund. We have Cathie Wood also saying that she would shift from gold to Bitcoin now after a parabolic move to for gold. Maybe it's time to move over some of that cash into Bitcoin, and maybe people will think this. Now, according to Mr. Crypto, You shouldn't be ignoring this. Every time the PMI flips above 50, right, Bitcoin starts a strong move to the upside. Why do we care about PMI? Whenever PMI gets strong, it signals a restart of the business cycle. In short, businesses are doing very well. GDP goes up, economy gets stronger, recession fears drop. Combine this with low inflation and mediocre jobs data, it paints a clear picture. The market is strong and Bitcoin thrives in that environment. Again, good news that can compound over time. Guys, smash that like button. I'm going to head over to the comment section in a second. So if you are enjoying this video, hit the like button, help this to get out to more people, but also pop your questions in the comment section right now so we can discuss it. Now, my favorite piece of data, the Bitcoin liquidation map, right? Heat map. Oh no, this one is just the liquidation map. What's interesting is we've actually dropped off quite a lot of shorts, right? There were, I think, 11 or 12 billion on Monday last time we went long. Last time we went live. So a lot of shorts have stopped, even though the price is going down, which means they probably were jumping out as the price went up, and now they've been caught, and they might try and catch the reverse of a falling knife, right? Because they might start going short now, which could actually springboard the price up. However, what we can see and what remains the same is that there aren't many longs. People are not jumping into longs right now. The people that did jump into the longs because they're trying to chase what could be coming just got annihilated because there's almost $600 million dollars worth of longs being wrecked. How do we avoid this? Well, what we do, right, is we don't do 100x longs or 100x shorts, 20x, 30x, 40x. If you're going to do 10x, understand that that is probably the most highest on the risk curve that I would be going, right? Because I do have a 10x position open, 2 of them, in fact. But understand that that is extreme risk. So imagine what 25x leverage is. Imagine 40x leverage. Remember James Wynn? He made 100 million using 40x leverage and lost it all. That's what happens to everyone who uses that sort of leverage, in my opinion. Now, right now, I'm exploring different options. I'm trying to find different ways to make money in this market, right? Cash flow is king in a market environment like this because I can buy assets. So make sure you subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be showing you some of the things that I've been looking at recently, and make sure that you get all of the wonderful bonuses that exchanges are offering right now. BitUnex has the trading bonus, right? This is an exclusive trading competition for people only who are under my link. So if you sign up using my link, you can also, if you're already someone who's got a BitUnex account, don't worry. The second link, you could just fill that out and you can be moved under me and you can get a little score of this 20,000. You can see here, right? This one in number 1 is now going to get $2,800 so far. So basically this money will be split up between the top traders. So if you want to, guys, that link will be down there in the description. Also, come over and join the Telegram group that's partnered with Blowfin. There's a ton of opportunity down there. And of course, the Crypto Strategy School, where you get to see Tyler. Great guy to be staring at. And then all 4 of our coaches and so much stuff here. And guys, honestly, right now is the time you want to be with a great community, right? That's when you want to be talking to other people, learning, seeing what strategies people are using right now to not panic in these markets. So guys, I'm going to pass the metaphorical mic over to you guys. Pop in your questions right now. Give me 1 minute to just get a bit of water and I'm going to come back and we're going to answer all the questions you have about the current market. All right, guys, I am back. And yes, TS7844, just a guy sitting in his room. Normally I'm having a little walk, but I'm trying to take a day off. It's very hard. You know, in a bear market, there is not much to do. There's not loads happening in the market. I'm not always working. I also run a influencer marketing agency. I have a few other things happening, but things slow down a lot in these sorts of markets. So I have a lot more time on my hands. So, but I'm trying to take a day off today because I've been pushing myself a lot. I'm trying to get that HRV up. I'm trying to get good sleep. I'm trying to do all of this stuff. But yes, I am a guy sitting in his room. I'm on BitUnext. Can we move to your group and how crypto carpenter? Yes, underneath this live stream, the second link is a form. You fill out that form, basically consenting to be moved under me, and then you can take part. Just by trading on BitUnext, you get put into that 20,000 USDT competition where you can win your portion just by trading. Crypto carpenter, the crypto school is awesome. Best thing I ever signed up for. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you like it. Also, if you have any input or anything you want us to add, do differently, please always let us know. So no longs, more shorts, low prices, lots of good news, and still going down, down, down. It doesn't make sense. It does make sense. I would assume by that, and do please correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. I need to be able to get. Can I get the chat to pop out? I'm such a boomer with that. Is there a way that I can get this chat? Because if I can put the chat on the screen, top live. How can I? Sorry, guys, I'm completely useless, but I'd love to put this on the screen so we can actually see well, I'll figure it out one day. But yeah, what I was going to say is the fact that you're saying it doesn't make sense kind of alludes to the fact that you're probably new to Bitcoin, at least a couple of years, maybe 1 year. But it does make sense. This is just normal price action, right? It doesn't feel normal in the moment because the news is always different. It's always new fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's never going to be the same thing because once we pass it, people realize it doesn't matter and it's not uncertainty, right? So the market doesn't thrive on uncertainty. In fact, the market's very worried. So the market right now is worried about what Trump's going to do. It's worried about tariffs. It's worried about wars. It's worried about the new Epstein files that's been released. It's worried about all of these different things, right? Last time, it was worried about China banning Bitcoin. Last time, it was worried about, there was no ETFs. There was no institutional involvement or excitement, right? I can't remember exactly. I wanted to actually get this up. I forgot. I wanted to ask ChatGPT for all the big major events in the last one. But that's what I mean. You forget. And trust me, we're going to forget about these things again. I think anyway, right? In the next bull run, you're going to forget about these moments because they all feel different. They all feel unique. But that's the unique thing about uncertainty. They have to be new. They have to be unexplored because if they were explored and everyone knew, well, it doesn't matter if, there is Epstein-funded MIT founders, whatever. If it turns out that doesn't matter, right, it means it's not uncertain and it wouldn't affect the price. If it turns out that the tariffs don't actually matter, like in 10 years from now, Bitcoin's $1 million, let's say, and we look back and we go, it didn't actually matter. But people don't know it doesn't matter. And I don't know for sure it doesn't matter, right? That's why I have a diverse portfolio. But that's what I've seen every single time, right? It keeps happening. So it does make sense. Why it makes sense, people are focusing on precious metals right now. They're putting all their money in there. They think Bitcoin's a scam. So even good news, a little bit of good news, like imagine I told you, oh, this business is a scam and everyone told you it was a scam, right? And then that business, on your local high street came out with a good sale or came out with, a new piece of tech. And everyone was like, yeah, that's cool, but they're still a scam, right? It wouldn't affect the price. So that's the way you got to think about it. Bitcoin currently looks likely to dip. Yes, if it loses this support, it probably is likely to dip more. Are you convinced we are in a full bear market or bull trap is currently playing out? Right now, we're on the last sort of contender for me, right? Where we are right at this point, 74,000. Okay, we've dropped another 1,000 as we've been talking. We are below this support. But if we take a look here, right, you can see, if we zoom into this region right here, see this? See this low right here, right? This low right here. We came down to retest it and we wicked below it and we tried again here. And we really retested it 1, 2, 3, 4 times, depending on these if you want to count them as well, 6 times. But this is the region that we're in, right? So we're either here or, here, right? Where we kind of just fell off a cliff. So this is likely to happen if we have something, if it doesn't hold up, right? That's what that's what it says, right? That's what it says on the tin that will happen. But you see this line here, this is the previous, all-time high between here and really here. And you see how little amount of time Bitcoin actually spends below there. A lot of people in this, I can tell you, a lot of people here, right? They were like, Bitcoin never goes below its all-time high. And it did. And that's what people thought, okay, well, now it's below its all-time high. It's going to continue to go significantly lower. So people weren't buying here. The people who right now are selling Bitcoin to buy it lower weren't buying lower in this one because they were like, okay, well, we've lost the all-time high. We're going lower. But we didn't. We actually only spent 64 days. So let's call it 2 months. So let's say exactly the same thing plays out. You see this circle right here? That's the all-time high previously. So we may very well go down like this. Maybe we have a little bounce in between, and then we're here, right? And then we go below it, and we spend, 60, that's 200, bit much, right here. We spend that amount of time below it, and we're in this region, right? And then we head up. That's like a similar scenario if you go off all-time highs as to what happened here. And yet that's Bitcoin at 60K. Now, if you go off the percentage, 77%, so anywhere between, let's say, 60 and 77%, 77 would be 28K, this line right here. And then 60% would be 50K. Right? So yes, it can get significantly worse. So what I say to you is, if you're like me and you don't think you can time the bottom, well, understand that you might have to DCA all the way down to 30K. That's just what you have to accept. If you won't do that, then don't DCA now. Don't buy. Wait. It's fine. Right? That my thesis is I can't time the bottom and I would rather not risk missing an epic pump. It's really that simple. But don't buy it if you can't sustain that drop, because that is just what Bitcoin does in the history. But then after that, it goes on parabolic runs for years and there's a lot of money to be made. So you might even be better just waiting until the parabolic run. Just make sure that if you do wait, then you're not the kind of person that will FOMO. For me personally, I am the kind of person that will FOMO, right? Or I was. So therefore, I'm like, well, the best way for me to navigate is just DCA. Right? That makes sense for me. Hey, Connor, I've been average in at 94, bad for like 1 year. What do you, I've been averaged in at 94. I'm not sure what you mean. Maybe your average price for Bitcoin is 94. If you believe that Bitcoin will one day be higher than that, you're willing to wait a couple of years. I'm DCAing. My last DCA was at 75K. So I think it could be a good shout. Did you see the movie where Trump, the journalist? No, I didn't. But still, what happens then when all the Bitcoin are mined? In what regard? I mean, if all the Bitcoin are mined, it could mean that it's even more scarce. So as long as quantum computing hasn't broken Bitcoin by then, it might make number go up. JCS, how do you feel about Bitcoin being increasingly dominated by firms like Strategy, BlackRock, and others? What impact could that have on market confidence and price action? I think that these players are incentivized. The more they have, I think they're more incentivized for the price to go up. BlackRock is incentivized for the price to go up because they want to make money from retail investors. Retail investors buy when the price goes up. So I think they're more incentivized to make the price go up. I don't believe that people like BlackRock are buying Bitcoin to nuke it to zero. But people like MicroStrategy add a new layer of risk, right? Because deleveraging of these positions, unwinding. But, Michael Saylor has less than 1 million Bitcoin. So, yeah, it would be catastrophic for the short term, but it would create a buying opportunity, which I would take advantage of. And you just have to, if you like, the thing is you're listening to me, right? So I'm talking from a position of if Bitcoin flash crashed tomorrow to 30K, I would be the one who bought it, right? I wouldn't be like, oh, it's over. I'd be buying. I'd be putting all the money that I have ready for that move in. 20K, I'd be buying, right? So if you're not that person, right, if the price action would deter you because there will be a reason it does that, right? And it'll be a lot worse than what we see right now. I will buy it because I was the person who bought Bitcoin when we had, all of the shutdowns in the world where nobody knew what was going to happen next. No, we honestly didn't know if it was the end of the world, basically. And the whole economy, well, the markets collapsed, right? And Bitcoin went from 10K to 3K. Right, which is a percentage move far larger than what I'm talking about. And I bought on that day and it was the best buy ever. So I'm kind of like, I'm biased with my experience, right? So that's what I'll keep doing. Crypto Carpenter, awesome. Filled out the form. I think it takes about 24 hours for BitUnex to then move you under me and then you'll be part of that trading competition. So good luck. Aaron C. Morris, you're more than welcome. Thank you for tuning in. A future bishop, I'll DCA until 10K. Brilliant. Did you see? Am I having a fit here? I'm sure you said that already. Maybe I just skipped that. Connor, you're only one of the only level-headed cryptos who doesn't talk shill their bags. Thanks for doing what you do. I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Like I said, my best method of generating wealth so far has been buying Bitcoin in fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and holding for the long term. So I want the best genuinely for all of you guys. Do I think that we still see some sort of altcoin rally? Absolutely. I think there's going to be another bull market, right? With bull markets come alt seasons. And people will argue until they're blue in the face and say we didn't have an alt season. But the way I see it is just because your alt didn't run doesn't mean we didn't have an alt season. Solana, XRP, Sui, and meme coins, and I'm probably forgetting some, had an alt season, right? They did. Ethereum had a crappy one. But they did have an alt season. There was tons of liquidity. There was so much excitement. And that ended really at the start of 2025. So you could argue that we've been in an alt bear market since the start of 2025, right? Is the market finally done wasting time? Oh, wait, alt season soon. 2025 meme season still strong. I don't know the point of that. Am I buying now or wait? I'm waiting. My last buy was 75,000. So that's pretty much exactly where we are. So now I just wait patiently. Do I think we could see a 5-year cycle? Absolutely. Why not? If we have our hopium and we put our hopium hats on and we start thinking about the business cycle, then very well might be. I'm shorting on the way down. I love that. I think if anyone thinks that they have a good strategy, right, to short, absolutely. People have been printing money shorting this market. I'm sitting here thinking, I should be shorting this market. But, I just like my strategy and we'll see. I might start to short if we lose this level right now. Then, okay, most likely that's when we're going into a longer term crypto winter. So that would be the time that I might start shorting and I'll totally let you guys know. Mm, mm, mm. Do I think other sunny side of the street? Do I think other alts like DOT are dead? There's absolutely no way to know for sure, but so far, so dead. Yes, I hold a bit of DOT from the last bull market, but it hasn't done anything. But the thing is like, that's what I mean. Like this money, yeah, it just has to be like, if you buy an altcoin, right, you're obviously a bit crazy like me. And if that money, when I say you can afford to lose it and you don't mind if it loses, like I'm thinking, okay, I buy this and it might do a 10x, it might do a 100x, right? But if it goes to 0, it doesn't matter. I genuinely mean that. And that's the mindset you have to get into. When I first bought Bitcoin, I was making $3,000 a month. I had saved maybe $30,000, $40,000 from almost 10 years working, right? I hadn't invested into anything. I was just saving money because I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea about the S&P 500, no idea about Bitcoin before that point, none of it. I had about $30,000, $40,000 savings and I put $3,000 into the market, right? Because that's what I was comfortable with. And that meant that I didn't panic. It also meant that I made a ton of money, $3,000 into $75,000 in 2017, which was amazing. I lost it all because I didn't know what I was doing. But that's always been how I've managed risk in this market. And I just continue that as I go along, right? I have businesses outside of this YouTube channel, outside of crypto, and that money that I make, I use it to invest, but in that sort of mindset, right? I use it, the money I can afford to lose is what I put into this market, and I'll continue to put that money in, and it gives you peace of mind, it gives you freedom. It limits your upside if you are correct, but I would rather be able to sleep at night and get a 6 sleep score on the old Whoop than, be all in. I don't like all in. I don't believe in all in. By that logic, alt season happened in 2024. Yeah, I do. I think that alt season did happen in the end of 2024, start of 2025, when the whole Trump excitement was there. I think that meme frenzy was an alt season. On that thought, guys, a lot of people actually don't realize as well that right here was a bull market, right? They say, okay, we had 2017's bull market, we had 2021's bull market, but how do you define a bull market? Because Bitcoin in 200 days went up 300%, right? So did a ton of altcoins. That was a very actually quite exciting time for the market, right? And it just goes to show. Like, people say, well, this was the top of the bull market, but actually you could argue that this was the top of the bull market right here, because that's when alts were a thing. Bitcoin was at all-time highs. Altcoins were crazy. It was an alt season, right? Am I looking more into DeFi coins? I'm actually not looking into anything right now. Right now, I'm trading large caps, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Doge, generating cash flow, holding those positions for hopeful big pushes to the upside. And then if we get the liquidity into alts, that's when I can rotate, right? I can rotate into the smaller caps. Right now, I just don't like, you might catch 100x here and there, but it's no longer like shooting fish in a barrel, right? You're shooting fish in the ocean, and that's probably pretty hard. I've never done it myself, but that's probably pretty hard. So right now I'm just relaxing, focusing on a few assets, right? I'm not trying to spread myself too thin, and yeah, we'll see where we go from here. Whenever Bitcoin is down, you keep buying. Why do you never analyze liquidity sweeps and enter at a better price? I analyze where I think the liquidity sits, and that's where I enter my short-term trades, right? It's basically the same thing you're saying. You just use different data, right? I use this data for the short term. That's how I got this Dogecoin entry. That's how I got different things, right? For my spot bags, if that's what you mean, I just DCA, right? So when the market, like on a day like today, if I hadn't have already bought at this level, because look, you see, we were here, right? We were here, right there. So right here at 75, like a week ago, we were basically where we are right now. So that's where I bought. I buy Bitcoin on panicked days. Sorry, I didn't show you the chart there. Like right around there. Yeah. I buy Bitcoin on panicked days because I don't think, because like it genuinely doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter to me if I buy it at 75 or 74.7 or 75 and 70, right? So on the next panic day where we get a big cascade, you see it happens all the time with Bitcoin. If it didn't happen all the time, then I would agree. But you see on these days, right, these big days where everyone's panicked, that's where I don't mind buying, right? Right here, right here. And that's because, look, this is what I did here, right? I was buying there, I bought there, bought there, bought there, bought there, bought there, bought there, bought there. And in fact, right here, I stopped buying. And then I think, I can't remember exactly, but this is where we were buying again. And then I didn't buy ever again until right here, right? So I waited. I bought all the way here, average price approximately 30, maybe 35K. And then I just waited, right? And then all of the profits came here. And then now we're back in panic mode. I start accumulating again. I like to keep things stupid simple. KISS. Keep it stupid simple. And that might not make me the most amount of money, but that's what keeps me emotionally sane. Iljaz, do I stake any Ethereum? No, I actually stake nothing. I did over the summer stake some stable coins to generate yield, but I just don't like it. Like the second things leave my wallet, you know, I've had so many bad experiences, whether it was UST, remember that whole collapse, whether it was like different DeFi hacks, whether it was all of that. I just hold. I just hold in cold storage and that's it. Right now, am I staking anything? No, I don't think I stake anything at all. Even DeFi coins, I have, remember Moonwell, I don't even stake that. I don't like staking. $3K is a joke, mate. Try 40K to invest. Okay. I assume you mean when I had 30K and I invested 3K. Why would I? Anyway. How about ADA? Yeah, ADA's what made me all the money. Cardano in, I bought it in the 2018, 2019 bear market. And that made me like so much money. It was great. It was great. But now it's not as exciting. The times are not exciting. DK Knight, finally a YouTuber that admits alt season happened in 2024. I don't understand. Is that not like a common thesis? That's what we were saying when it was happening. I've always thought that was alt season. I've always been arguing with people because my point is people are like, there's been no alt season. And I'm like, just because, you know, Polkadot or AVAX or whatever it was that most people were in didn't pump, doesn't mean, you know, XRP itself went up 8x. Right, 50 cents to like 3.5 cents, $3.5, which that's very bully, That's a lot of money. Solana, $18, whatever it went to. I can't even remember, 250 plus, right? And then meme coins, so much liquidity, billions of dollars, $1 billion market caps. That's an alt season. Would you go all in on black or red on roulette or 200x Bitcoin? Neither. I wouldn't go all in on anything at all. Sorry, I'm so boring. Do I take profits from my long-term Bitcoin bag, Gunny Rabbit? So I'm not sure how long. I recognize your name. I'm not sure how long you've been on the channel, but what I do is, or what I did this run is, no, I didn't take any profits from my spot Bitcoin, but I took profits from 2 other Bitcoin adjacent, we call them investments or trades, right? So in the bear market here, right here, I was buying. I'm sure you've heard me yap about this Clean Spark, right? But this is how I took profits, because I took, I did like, oh nice, I did like leveraged plays on these things, right? So Clean Spark is a leverage play on Bitcoin, and I also took leveraged longs on Bitcoin. So in this moment here, 2022, I can't remember exactly where I started buying, but around here, it continued to go down. It felt like I was throwing fuel on the fire. We had a few pumps I bought, and then the first real rally, around here, mid 24, I actually sold it all. So that was my first big profit taking. I sold all of it there, and I thought, well, it was quite a significant position. So with that, I didn't need to take any Bitcoin profit. Plus, I had long positions on Bitcoin, which I also took significant profits from. And then as Clean Spark crashed back down, right, I sold. My average was down here. Then I sold at 20. You feel like an idiot for a bit as it goes to 24. Then we just kind of basically around here. And then I waited. And when it went to 10, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to start DCAing under 10. So I DCA'd all of the money back in this region. And then I actually sold most of it again at 20. And then now I've started DCAing again at exactly 10. So I'm about 25% back into the position here, but it's accumulating, right? It's accumulating. And I did that instead of taking profit from Bitcoin. So in a way, I did take profits, but in another way, I didn't. I have my cold storage of my Bitcoin that I want to hold, and I want to use these ways to just build more. So as we go into possibly a crypto winter, already in a technical bear market, but a crypto winter, as we go into this, I'll use that cash flow from the leverage trades, from the Clean Spark trades, from a few other trades, and I'll use that to then buy more Bitcoin in the bear market. And that's why, to me, it's not important if I buy at, I started again, I think this time around on Bitcoin, 85 and then 75. Those are like the 2 main average buys. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. And then, 65, chunk more, 55, chunk more, 50, chunk more, 45, chunk more. And then also I'm doing longs as we do that, because I want to catch these long term. I have 2 strategies. I have short-term swing trading and very long-term swing trading. I would be happy to catch a long right now and hold it for in the next year, right? That's kind of actually the plan for this, right? So these, I want to catch, right, the bottom, and I'll continue to DCA. I might have to close. I might have to take some losses on these, but I want to continue to open these and then catch a trade that runs through the bull market. It's what I did. The trade that I caught was a little late in the last bull market, so I want to catch it earlier. And the way I see it is, if I'm doing, let's say I take a 10K loss on this trade. As you know, recently I did $10,000 profit on Doge, so I take a 10K loss on this. That's okay. We go, I got a 10x long on that right now. It goes down 10%. I take a 10K loss on that. I reopen the trade. And, as it goes down, right, the risk is actually like the entry is going to get better and better. And then I hold that trade open for a big rally if we get it. And then that's going to make a lot more money than the loss if it works. If it doesn't work, then I lose all of it, right? But that's kind of the thesis around that longer term swing trade. How much money did Ada make me? Well, I put about I think it was $2,000 to $3,000 average right near the actual bottom, and then you can see the percent gain. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. Oh, D Knight. Most YouTubers claim that 2024 was no alt season. Well, I think it was an alt season. I used to watch a lot of other people in the market, but I actually don't watch many other people because I feel like it's easy to have like my thesis change, whether it's bullish or bearish. I like to just come up with my own conclusions. 9x on my near bags. Very nice. When you say you're holding in cold storage forever, well, yeah, basically, I'll probably move that, take loans on it, use it to buy real estate, that sort of stuff when it's worth significantly more. So on CleanSpark, what was your top signal resistance zone? Seems like you timed the market. So the top signal was the euphoria in the market, right? So we had extreme euphoria. So right now, my bottom signal is extreme fear, right? Look at this, extreme fear. Go here, scroll down, go to max, and you see that this 10 here, November, extreme fear, you see? So these regions for me are great times to buy, and then these regions to me are great times to sell. Look at this, November 2024, great time to be selling. Now, almost 100% of the time, I'm going to be wrong for a little bit of time, right? So you have to be able to, accept that. Exactly the same up is exactly the same bottom. So with CleanSpark, right? When I sold it at 20, it doesn't matter if it goes to 100. I'm not going to chase it. I've made the decision, right? And I just wait. And then it went to 10. I'm like, okay, brilliant. I still like this company. I still like Bitcoin. I'll buy more. And then I DCA, remember, because I know that I'm not going to get this 100% right. So I DCA, I start slowly in, slowly in, slowly in. And in fact, on the way out, I'm DCAing out bigger chunks, right? Bigger chunks as it's euphoric, because I'd rather get the cash and guarantee that than have another 4x, right? Or the risk of losing it. Why not profit from spot bar? I'm not sure what that means, Mr. Crypto Carpenter. Since you DCA most of the time, what's your hard stop loss category? Do you keep stop losses at all because you plan to hold? Yes, in the shorter term trades, I have a stop loss. See here? So on the Dogecoin trade, I have a stop loss, right? I like stop losses. Sorry, you can't see it. Here, stop loss. I like stop losses as a determination of how much you're willing to lose, right? So, say on this Dogecoin trade, I'm willing to lose $500 for the hope to make a $10,000. We made since the market's been going down, we've done 2 Doge trades that have made me plus $10,000. So I'm willing to lose $500 on each bet. It doesn't really matter, right? And then same for the lower leverage, longer term swings. If there's a point that you're willing to lose an amount of money, you got to figure out. I like to figure out how much money I'm willing to lose in those trades. Do I think Bitcoin will drop to 30K? I think it's possible. I think it's on the cards because that's what's happened in the past. I think it's actually quite unlikely, but it wouldn't surprise me if it did. Is Bitcoin at its bottom? We don't know. Where's the relief rally to 100K? It happened. It didn't happen to the degree that I expected it to. That's why I didn't close these positions that I have open. Should have closed the positions up there, but hindsight's 2020. This was potentially the relief rally to 97. You can see not far off the 200-day MA. So maybe that does turn out to be it. We'll have to wait and see. Oh, my spot bag. I did take profits from XRP. I took profits from CleanSpark. I took profits from a few of the altcoins. Of course, the low caps that I made any profit on, I sold basically most of those. We spoke about it. But Bitcoin, I don't want to sell it. I don't want to sell Bitcoin. I have like an idea in my head of how much Bitcoin I want, and I don't have enough. So I don't want it. I actually want more. You want to keep stacking Sol because you believe in the project in the long term. Yeah, I think that's good thesis. I still hold Solana. I still hold spot Solana as well. I think it's going to be good, but I'm willing to accept it could go to 0. So that's what you need to understand. All right, guys, it's been an hour. I'm going to jump off. Hopefully, I provided you some value. If I did, do me a favor, smash the like button. Send this to a friend. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Remember, guys, if you do want any of the bonuses, we do have a bunch of bonuses. Make sure to sign up to BitUnext to take part in the trading competition. There is also beneath this video a link to the Telegram group, which you can access. And there is also a link to the Crypto Kickstart, which has all of my trades, all of my coaches in there that can help you basically 24/7. There's chats in there. There's so much in there. So if you want to and you fancy it, come and check it out. And